Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Casual Coffee with Ken. Welcome to Thursday. My name is Ken, and thank you so much for joining me this morning. Sorry I wasn't here yesterday. Had some things, come up that needed to be taken care of, and yeah, that's how life goes sometimes. But we're all here together today. So again, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you spending some time with me this morning. If this is your first time watching, this is a show where I try to find interesting, upbeat, positive, and sometimes inspiring stories to share with you. And I do this to counteract the negative news cycle that seems to dominate our local news and our national network news stations. So that's all. I do this as much for my own mental health as any other reason. And good morning, Sean. Hope you're doing well, sir. Hope you're having a great day up there in the wonderful world of Oregon. Ah, yeah, tea. Love tea. So instead of a singular tea of the day, speaking of tea, I saw on our favorite website, David's Tea, that they are introducing their lineup of returning tea favorites specifically for iced tea. So I know a lot of people out there like iced tea. I'm not a huge fan of iced tea. It's okay. I much prefer hot tea. I also prefer hot coffee. I'm not a fan of iced coffee. So, but for those of you who like iced tea, they have just posted on their site some of their returning favorite teas that are specifically assembled. I don't know, that's the wrong word. For using in an iced tea concoction. And there's all kinds of interesting names for these. Bear Trap, Fantasy Island, Lime Gelato. That actually sounds really good. And of course, you could use any of these for hot tea as well. You don't have to make iced tea with them, but I guess these are fairly popular blends on their site for making iced tea with. Strawberry lemonade, Copacabana, Kiwi's Big Adventure, white nectarine. That might be good. Green and fruity. Okay, I've got to know what Bear Trap is. Come on, Bear Trap. Yes, I know you have deals today. What is in Bear Trap? Caffeine-free tea, black currants, blackberries, strawberries, and raspberries. The tea will be retiring once quantities have run out. So, yeah, apparently you should get while the getting is good. Looks delicious, doesn't it? It looks like something you could almost pour into a bowl and eat with some milk. You don't want to do that because tea leaves would not be fun to eat in that manner. But yes, there we go. So if you are looking for some new beverage options in your life, you won't go wrong at David's Tea. They are not a sponsor of my show. I wish they were a sponsor of my show. That would be most welcome. But we just love them. We love their product. They make their teas are so flavorful that although they are a little pricier than some of the other places that you can buy loose leaf tea, you don't use as much as you do from other tea places to make a really good cup of tea. So the higher price actually balances itself out very well because you don't go through the tea very fast. So I'm a geek and clumsy. Didn't need that elbow anyway. All right. So yeah, I love tea and I love fountain pens and I am a strange duck. Let's see here. Okay. First story of the day. Oh, and also I forgot in my usual spiel at the top of the show. If you are new here, you can comment, as you saw at the beginning. Sean commented, and I was able to show his comment on the screen. If you do choose to comment, whether you're watching on YouTube or Twitch or let's see, where else is it? Periscope, Facebook. I think that's it. Just know that I will see the comments. And if you would tell me, if this is your first time here, where in the world you're watching from, I always love knowing that. I love knowing where my audience is because that's the appeal of doing a live stream, is being able to interact with people in real time and that sense of connection that you get from a live show is really good. I think it's fun. Anyway, enough blathering, and yes, I will save the elbow thing for the outtakes. First story today is celebrating some people who are probably a lot less clumsy than myself, who, in an act of amazing dedication and just kind-heartedness. And I have to thank Sean actually for this story because he was the one that brought it to my attention. You have a situation where people, I think this qualifies as going above and beyond in manufacturing equipment that can protect people, personal protective equipment. These employees at a Pennsylvania manufacturing plant lived at the plant for a month, basically 28 days, so that they could manufacture personal protective equipment basically 24 hours a day, working in shifts. So, and they of course all volunteered to do this. No one was forced to do this. And this was in a town called Marcus Hook near Philadelphia. This is from CNN.com. And what they're doing is they're making polypropylene. And polypropylene is a material that's used to make things like medical gowns and N95 masks. And without that raw material, you're not going to be able to manufacture as much of that protective equipment. So they lived there. The company brought in cots. They brought in kitchens, little mini kitchens. Groceries were dropped off there so they could eat. They made sure they had internet access, and they supplied Wi-Fi and iPads. They got a raise, which is very well deserved. And so basically the half of them would, work a 12-hour shift, and then the other half would take over after 12 hours. So everyone was getting rest. They weren't being forced to work 24 hours, straight all the time. But yeah, it was an amazing act of generosity and selflessness. And it's a really good example of, in this case, not just a company electing to do something, but the workers at that company just really digging deep within themselves to do something that is so necessary in order to combat this pandemic right now. And I feel that these types of stories need to be highlighted. And I found that unless you go looking for these types of positive news stories, it's not always easy to find them, and they don't always make the mainstream news. So, just wanted to share that with you. They're all getting uh, a week off, and then they'll just resume their normal shifts at the manufacturing plant. But thank you, Sean, for sharing that story and bringing that to my attention, because it's definitely worthy of a wider distribution. To the 5 people that watch this show. Let's see here. Okay, this next one. And this is just weird. It's a fun case of the fictional world crossing with reality. Some scientists have discovered a new kind of snake. And to celebrate and mark the occasion, they have decided to give it kind of a famous name. They've chosen to name this new snake after Salazar Slytherin. Anyone who's watched a Harry Potter movie or read one of the books knows who that is. So that was fun. So it's a new species of green pit vipers. And this team of researchers from India were the ones who discovered the new species and decided that that would be a fun thing to do, is to name it after the founder of Slytherin, one of the founders of the Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. And yeah, it's I don't know. It's just fun. I mean, obviously they could have named the new snake anything they wanted to, and they chose to use a mainstay of literary pop culture as inspiration for naming it. So I thought that was really cool. The official name of this new breed of snake is going to be the Trimeresurus Salazar. I'm sure I mispronounced that. And the team has suggested that the snake's common name be Salazar's pit viper. So if you ever see one of these, don't pick it up. They are apparently venomous, very venomous, and not to be trifled with, much like Salazar Slytherin. So it, yeah, I don't know. I thought it was fun. I'll post the link to the full story over there on CNN. But I love the Harry Potter books, and I thought that was wonderful. It's, again, they could have named it anything, and they were apparently big enough fans of J.K. Rowling's work that they drew inspiration from it, and that was fun. Just a silly little story to take your mind off things. Okay, this one, I think these are all good stories. That's why I'm even bothering to tell you about them. But this one, I love. I love everything about this. So, any of you who have watched the show at all know that I'm a big fan of art. Not all art, but some art. And I love it because I can't do it. And I am always very impressed by people who are talented in that way, who can draw, who can paint, who can sculpt, who can build these gigantic metal contraptions, sculptures, optical illusion sculptures. It's just mind-boggling to me that people can do that kind of thing, because I cannot draw a straight line with a ruler. So there's this one, oh my god, this one lady um, has decided to put on a show for her neighborhood, and she she does it in a very unique way. There's no dialogue, uh, but that hasn't stopped, everyone in the neighborhood and lots of people just going to the neighborhood to check it out. I'll just shut up and show you. It's so cool. So she's doing shadow puppet shows from her living room window. And she makes all of the cutouts herself. She cuts them all out. She's using two overhead projectors. I don't know if you remember those from when you were in school, the overhead projectors that they would, pull out during class to, you know, you know what they were for. I'm just not braining well today. Um, but yeah, so she makes all of these cutouts for the show, and she animates movement set to music. And so far, she's done The Wizard of Oz and Cinderella. And uh, she generally does them at dusk, so around 7:30 p.m. her time. Uh, and she just broadcasts the music out of speakers on her porch, and the shows are about maybe 6 minutes each. And it's so cool. And of course, everyone is observing social distancing during watching this. But originally, she was going to just, sew masks. She was looking for some way to feel useful. And when she went to do that, she found that her sewing machine was broken. But she's a theater teacher. And so her next instinct was to do something theater related that kids would appreciate. And so she thought it would be fun. It would provide parents with a much needed break. They could put their kids in. It says in the article here, they could put the kids in the car, take a ride over to her house, and watch the show for 6 minutes, and then go home. And it's just fun. She discusses that she has always loved uh, the art of puppetry. Quote, I keep saying in my next life that I'm going to be a puppeteer. I really love it. And she just loves everything about it. The music is the most important element for her, and it's just fun for her. She's her name is, oh gosh, Jane Martineau, or maybe it's Martineau. Uh, she's been the director of theater at the Williams School in New London for 39 years, and so she's brilliant. I love this. I just love this. I'll of course post the link to the article for you. But yeah, and you can also, because obviously not all of us are in her neighborhood there, but you can see them on YouTube, and I'll post the links to where she's showing them on YouTube, and they're really cute. She does a really good job. Of the two, I watched both of them. Of the two, The Wizard of Oz is my favorite. It seems more dramatic, and there's just a lot more going on in the story. It's well done. You should check it out. It's like going to be about 12 minutes out of your day, and it's worth it. If you have kids, I imagine that they will eat it up, that they will love it. So yeah, just another really good example of someone thinking way outside the box on how to help during this really troubling time. And You don't have to sew masks. You don't have to be making personal protective equipment, although if you can do that, that's great too, obviously. But gosh, I saw this really inspiring quote somewhere on the internet, and I wish I knew who to attribute it to. I don't know if it's anyone famous, but it goes something like, medicine makes life possible and art makes life livable, or something to that effect. And I think that's there's some merit to that. We need everybody in our society. We need the artists, we need the doctors, and you know, there's so much that goes into making a life, and it's not just about making money. It's not just about meeting a quota at work. I mean, think about it. If we didn't have authors and painters and musicians and illustrators and actors, musicians, if I didn't already say that, I mean, if we didn't have all those things, what the heck would we be doing right now in quarantine? What would you do if there were no more authors and no books and no movies to watch on Netflix, no shows, no games? It's important to have, obviously, physicians, nurses, medical personnel. It's important to have police officers, firemen, plumbers, grocery store cashiers. I mean, there are certain essential positions in our society that absolutely we have to have, and they need to be celebrated because what they do is important work. But there's also everything else. There's art, there's music that makes life joyful, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And so we're all in this together. We all need to support each other. I I think that the painter, the author, the musician are in their own way just as important as any other profession, and we're all in this together, and it's only through the contribution of everyone that we have this wonderful experience called life. So, boy, I ranted. I am so sorry. I don't know where that came from, but anyway, it's going to be kind of a short show today, but tomorrow's Friday, and I have something in mind that's going to be a little different. Last week, I tried streaming an episode of the public domain series Flash Gordon. Unfortunately, YouTube did not like that. I'm not exactly sure why, but even though it's definitely public domain, they weren't okay with it. So I got my hand slapped for that. But I have a different idea for tomorrow. It's going to take some prep work tonight, and if all goes well, then I'll be able to do it. But you'll see. Just tune in, because if it works, I think it's going to be kind of fun. It's definitely going to be very different from what I've been doing on here. Anyway, that's it. That brings us to the end of the show for today. Do me a favor, if you had a good time today, if you like this kind of thing, if you like the idea of the real-time interaction and a morning show that is focused on positivity rather than negativity, after the live stream ends, it does stay up as a link. If you wouldn't mind sharing the link with other people you know on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter or Twitch or wherever you happen to be watching at, I'd appreciate it. I love doing this, and yeah, if you like it, why not share it with people that you know? And that's it. I will let you go for now, but I will see you right back here tomorrow, which is Friday the 24th at 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. So until that time, I'm Ken McKim. You take care, and remember to be kind to yourself and each other, because now more than ever, kindness absolutely matters. All right. Thank you. I'll talk to you guys later.